exciting, and welcome to Big Wave Small Talk. It's a podcast about big waves and how to survive them. Today's guest is a mindset and performance coach helping athletes and business professionals reach their highest potential. Coach Dris was born in Morocco, where he learned to surf, and has since traveled the world offering his practice based on a solid psychological foundation, combining techniques such as sports psychology, positive psychology, neuro-linguistic programming, plus social and emotional intelligence. Aloha!
Hi there, how are you?
So good. Thank you for joining me today.
I'm happy to connect with you. Last time, I think it was 2 years ago, 2018, October.
And it's funny because I was in the middle of the Big Wave Tour planning for 𝗪𝗓, waiting in Portugal for a big swell, and I was on your podcast and Mindset and Performance, and I remember I was dealing with a lot of traveling. I was traveling maybe 9 or 10 months out of the year for big swells or for the tour, and so I had the opposite problem that I have now of being like never knowing where I was going to be, always on the road, couldn't tell my family when I'd be home. And now I find myself on Oahu and I can't leave the island. And it's kind of an interesting change.
Not the worst place to be stuck in right now, right?
I'm super grateful to be here. I think one of the reasons I really wanted to bring you on to the show is because right now, I would guess about 70 to 80%, maybe more, of surfers globally are landlocked or at least locked in their house. Even if they can see the beach, they can't go to the beach. Yeah, heavy days. I really want to offer them some techniques, some ways that people and surfers in quarantine can deal with not surfing and what they can do from home to clear their mind.
The best thing that one can be doing right now when not being able to surf is to prepare for when they can come back to the surf. And it's basically training the mind and training the body. I think the internet is already full of a lot of input out there from different type of coaches on how you can prepare physically, all the fitness drills and things like that. But for the mental training, I don't know if there's enough information out there. But one of the things that I like doing, and I like suggesting to my clients also to do, is visualization. Visualization is a great thing to do. The brain doesn't know the difference between actually doing something and actually visualizing it. Visualization can sound quite far-fetched, but you basically just daydreaming, closing your eyes and practicing while your eyes are closed. And it's backed up by science. What happens actually in the brain when you do that, you have neurons, you have neural pathways that are carved, that are solidified, and they are strengthened to do something. So if that makes sense, it's called neuroplasticity. And you asked me earlier a question about how actually I deal with my confinement. So I do a couple of morning preparation drills, and those are like warm-ups for my day. And the same preparations, those same kind of preparations are the ones I suggest to people to do before heat, before competition, before going for a big surf, for example. And those same drills, they can start practicing them to prepare for when they will be surfing again in the future. But this is the time where they can reinforce those learnings.
How do we focus on what we can do instead of what we can't? Especially for the adrenaline junkie that likes big waves and that rush of, it really could be any sport, especially extreme sports, when we like the thrill.
How do we focus on what we can do instead of what we can't? Well, this is a little bit of mindfulness, I guess. This is Eastern philosophy there. It's like being in the present moment rather than projecting on what we can do. I'm here sitting in Germany. I wish I'd be by the ocean. As you know, I've been spending the past 5 years in Bali, Indonesia. So this is a big of an adjustment for me here. But rather than thinking of when would I go back, I'm rather enjoying what's happening right now. This is something that mindfulness taught me, meditation. Meditation teaches you how to focus on the present and stay in the present and be grateful somehow. So gratitude is one thing, but also creating routines that makes you look forward for when things will be open again, when borders will be open, when the surf will be open again, and going back to that. And you want to be as prepared as possible so you can enjoy as much as possible. And preparation starts with the mind, of course, like gratitude again, being grateful for what we have, and physically doing the drills you need to be doing. I mean, eating well, sleeping well, having fun also, not to forget about that, having fun with social connections with people or getting busy with something that you like doing. I don't know, for athletes, maybe they can work on their social media and work on their social presence and maybe volunteer in some ways. So all that can keep us busy, not just keep us busy, keep us, it can feed us. We learn from doing these things until the borders are open, but still enjoying every single thing of those things that we can be practicing.
Wonderful. Well, in addition to your consulting, you're also the head coach for China's Olympic surf team, and a lot of out-of-water training, which I think is great because most surfers will say the best training for surfing is surfing. But if you can't surf, can you explain a little bit about what you're doing with the team in China and how people can implement those practices?
So I worked with these kids in 4 months, from July 2019 till October, and it was just amazing experience. Surfing is 70% outside of the water. Only 30% surf training is in the water. The other 70%, video analysis, fitness, theory classes. So we did all of that, and they had their camp in Bali for those months. And so I helped them not only reinvent their routine of training, like the whole day and weeks, but also break it down a little bit into how you can, each day, what you're going to be training on. And usually all the mornings were surfing, and most of the afternoons were theory classes. They were also mindfulness practices. I get them to do breath work. They were very skeptical in the beginning, but when they did it, they were like just amazing. I can never forget how their eyes just opened big, large like that when, after doing the 3 rounds of that breath work from Wim Hof, by the way, the Iceman from the Netherlands. I introduced them to meditation. I introduced them to different types of fitness training. We had screens, video projection with screen split in 2 sides. One was English, the other one was translated to Chinese, and we had to break down maneuvers, we had to break down turns, we had to break down turns from different videos. It was a really amazing experience, and they were very receptive. What made it actually amazing was the level of commitment these kids had. They were so committed to learn and so engaged in that whole experience, and they took in everything. Like everything we'll be telling them, they will be doing their best to make it happen, to practice every day. We bounded quite well, and it was good. So the thing about the wave pool, so I didn't know about the wave pool before that. I didn't know there was a wave pool, big one like that over there. And it was in August when they told me they need to go for a comp. And I wanted to know where they would be competing, of course, to check the type of waves and so on. So I told them, like, show me on the map where it is. They pointed somewhere in the middle of the land. And that can be it. Maybe Google Translate didn't translate it well. I told them again, can you, okay, where is the wave? And then they pointed against the same thing. And I thought, okay, there might be a wave pool there. So they zoomed in, showed me pictures, and there was basically the range. This Kelly Slater surf range pool was there. The same one replicated. And I was blown away because I didn't know they had it. The tuning of it maybe was different, so it wasn't as perfect rolling as the normal one, but I was impressed. There was an article saying that they are building 5 of them, so 5 times $26 million. So they are investing a lot in that, and they are learning very fast. So guys, there, watch out.
A lot of us are going through a roller coaster of emotions right now. Whether it be grief of what we've lost or someone that we've lost, or just a million different things. How can we remove the judgment on ourselves for feeling maybe down or upset?
So how we can manage our emotions, is that the question? First thing first is to be able to get aware of how we feel. So knowing what it is that we feel. So pointing at it, it will be a great thing. Because the first thing is actually to know specifically what it is. Is it stress, is it anxiety, is it sadness, grief, what it is. So once we identify what it is, we might try to actually work changing it by changing the dialogue that we have about it, and that helps us change the perspective on it. So for example, thoughts are affected by the way we think. So once we change the way we think about something, our emotions change, then our actions and behavior, and therefore our outcomes change as well. So if you are not feeling well, see what are you thinking about it. But first identify what is it that you're feeling, what thought is going there, and why are you feeling that way. And then try to change the dialogue. So changing belief, changing paradigm. So for example, people might be sad because they were thinking, this is going to be forever, it's never going to be open again, the world will change, and go to a whole dramatic, chaotic scenarios. So changing the dialogue might make you feel better about how you feel, and therefore get more active, get on with your life, and do something so you can change your outcome. You're feeling better, and then you change your outcomes. Another way to change how we feel is moving. Our external behavior impacts directly our internal computation, our thought processing, and our internal state, our emotions. So you know, like if we don't feel good, we're often like that, down a little bit, shoulders down. So if you change a little bit your posture, you start already feeling good. You start releasing the right hormones and so on. So this is just to simplify. But normally, if you go for a run, you go for a walk in the forest, or you just exercise, you start feeling great. So you're feeling down, you can impact the way you feel by the way you think and by the way you move. So movement is very important. So exercising, standing straight, smiling. I have a little reminder here.
Smile. Even
just stretching my face, it makes me feel good. So if I get caught on my computer and doing what I have to do, sometimes I forget about it, and then I smile, take a break, smile, and move on.
I agree that working out and exercise, for me anyways, it is the best way for me to feel better about anything. But getting from your phone on the couch to exercising, getting out of that dark hole, how do we remove ourselves from, the depths of a dark space? Say we're watching the news and it just seems like it just gets worse and worse.
Don't watch the news.
Don't watch the news.
Well, it takes practice, takes time. It's not just like a snap in the finger. It's the same way you don't expect to go to the gym and get a six-pack after one time going to the gym, right? You need to practice something, and that's where we go back again to mindfulness practice. So I'm going to talk from a subjective point, but also from a point things that I have taught my clients to do. With a certain type of meditation technique, you start catching those thoughts and those feelings before they grow in you and get you stuck in that couch, before it becomes too heavy for you to get up from that couch. So it's a practice where you turn on the volume for that awareness, and you distance yourself from those thoughts. So you're sitting down. That's the meditation practice. This is the thing I do every morning 10 minutes, not more than that, 10-15 minutes maximum. And the moment you catch yourself thinking about something, okay, I'm experiencing a thought, I'm experiencing a feeling. This is before it gets into it and it starts dwelling and taking you to the spiral down completely, to be completely frozen. So by doing that over and over, you develop a sensitivity to thinking and feeling and catch yourself before you get caught in it. So if you don't like meditation has a branding problem. It's not about sitting down, humming, and lighting candles. There's no problem with doing that, but it's not only that. So for my clients, I call it focus training or mindfulness or something like that, so they can absorb it a little bit and be more open to it. So to answer your question, what you don't do determines what you can do. So if you are always exposed to those negative either people or TV or news, it might slow you down. It's like, again, with the analogy of sports, you want to be an athlete running fit and healthy and super performant. You don't sit down and sit on the couch and do nothing and eat sugars and fat and all that. You practice something. You let go of the things that can hold you back and slow you down. So this is a little bit also how it works with the mind and the emotions. You are aware of what's going on social media or TV, but you distance yourself from those. You take a distance from them. And by doing a few mindfulness practices every day, it helps you not let those catch you and get you stuck on the couch, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So the breath work you were doing with meditation, can you explain a little bit about the practice of what exactly you train?
Sure. I love that. I'm so much into it these days, so I can definitely talk about it a lot. So what I actually learned, I learned that breathwork technique from Wim Hof. I guess you know who that is. The Iceman, they call him. So the first time I got exposed to that practice, it was I think someone sent me a link on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, this is another breathwork thing, and let's just practice something and see how it is. After one round of that breath work, I was blown how I could hold my breath for 2 minutes without being prepared for it. And I was like, okay, what is this? Let's check it out. So I looked it up. I found all the information about it, and then I signed up to a course in Bali. They were like a workshop, 7 hours that day. They taught us how to breathe, the science behind it, and also how to get the cold exposure. And this is the things that Laird Hamilton and his guys are doing also. So it's broadly now used. So that breathing technique, what you do on it is you inhale, exhale for 30 to 40 times. Then you hold your breath. You inhale, exhale, by the way, very strongly, so like maximum. So then you hold your breath for 2 minutes with empty lungs. And during those 2 minutes, just close your eyes or open them. Some of us can also do some push-ups or squats while we're holding breath for 2 minutes with practice. And then at the end of these 2 minutes, you inhale to the max and hold for 15 seconds. So 30 to 40 inhales, exhales, 2 minutes hold, and then inhale 15 seconds, and then that's one round. And you repeat that 3 times. So what happens when you do that, you make your body more alkaline, and therefore your neurotransmitters becomes more fluid, so they bring in information from one place to another place easier, and then become more clear. And also at the same time, because you held your breath for 2 minutes, there's a release of adrenaline, which resets your body. So you are sharp and awake and fresh and clear in your mind. So once you do that for some time, you make yourself more alkaline, more focused, etc., etc., which helps when you meditate and you focus on the positive things. Because as I said, when the neurotransmitters are fluid, if you think about something positive, then it quickly feel that, it quickly be in that way, in that sense. So I start my morning with 15 minutes of that breath work. I do 10 minutes meditation, then I follow it with some stretching and warm-ups, and then exercises, and I'm ready for my day. And that's my little routine for my pre-game routine. And my game is my day. Being with my clients, calling with them, doing my emails. And that pre-game routine can be replicated for athletes before going for a big serve, before going for a competition. And it can be customized the way they want. Like some, as you see them in competition, they are behind, they're stretching, they're putting their music and preparing their body to be in the right mindset before going to the heat. So I guess I respond to the question with the breath work. Have you tried something like that before with the breathing?
Yes, I practice apnea. I've also done Wim Hof many different times with friends. And I'd recommend, if you're doing apnea, you can, do it if you can with a friend, especially not in the water alone.
Yes, dangerous.
Right. The CO2 tables I find to be challenging, but more realistic to what we're actually dealing with in big waves, where you might be paddling, find yourself in a bad spot, get pounded, and then have to hold your breath with maybe not even a full breath of air. Or if you wipe out and then you have a 2-wave hold down, that might be a situation where you've actually expelled all of your air from getting the wind knocked out of you, and then you have to figure out how to remain calm with all that CO2 buildup. And that's really uncomfortable. It makes, at least it makes me dizzy, and you know, I've had times in the water when we're training like in an Olympic pool where there's either the euphoria or I just feel absolutely depleted and like I can't do anything the rest of the day. The key word I heard when you were talking about breath work was adrenaline. You can get adrenaline from a breath exercise. It's a miracle. And I think it's a great way for surfers right now to train. In addition to the cold plunges, like I can't go to a trainer right now. I can't go to, you know, even a chiropractor, get a massage, like all the things that an athlete is maybe accustomed to. So I feel like we have to be more self-reliant right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do cold showers here every morning after the whole routine, and in the evening sometimes to fall asleep.
One final question.
Sure.
Thinking about positive psychology.
Yeah.
And, you know, I asked you earlier, how can we focus on what we can do instead of what we can't? Could you give us some techniques and tips on positive reinforcement and positive self-talk?
Best thing to do, I guess, in the situation of lockdown is to combine a couple of tools that can be useful, like this breath work, this meditation, but also journaling a little bit, having a journal, writing down a couple of things there that you think about. So that's a little bit of a releasing of the negativity. When you write down, you put them out instead of here being there. Having words of affirmation, having mantras and quotes, things that motivate you, it keeps you focused on what you want to do. I have some clients, and one of them is right now, Joss. She's online. Hi, Joss. She is great because she has vision boards all over her walls, and that keeps her focused and positive. And she just knows, she knows the way she's going. She knows that she's gonna be for the competitions and all that and be the greatest among them over there. So she knows that where she's going, but she knows that she has to deal with what's happening right now. And what keeps her positive, her wall, where she even framed all the visions where she want to be, the goals, her values, her most empowering beliefs. She put everything there. So visual cues are very important. That's why I also have my little note thing here to keep positive and keep being grateful for what I have. When friends are reaching out, I try to have sincere, real dialogue with them. How is it going? Then you have a dialogue that's real. Well, I'm here in Germany. Things are okay. I'm pretty happy being here. It's green around me, but I do miss the ocean sometimes. I miss also touching the sand with my feet. But watch your dialogue, watch the story you're telling, not only to yourself, but also that you put out there. Just keep yourself busy with nice routines that can not just keep you busy and distracted, but can help you for the comeback, for when you go back on your surfboard and in the water. And things will change. Things will become better at some point.
For sure, being grateful for all of the little things has been pretty eye-opening. Like you said, the sand between your toes is just something that surfers long for, but don't really realize how important it is. And yeah, I just encourage everyone listening to keep your head up and know that we're all in this together. As many times as you've probably heard that, it's true. And we all have our individual struggles. Check out Coach Dris on Instagram or his website. He also has a podcast, which is amazing. And you interview surfers, snowboarders, all sorts of idols of mine about their mindset and how they can deal with the current situation with COVID-19. Thank you for all the service you do for people around the world. Something like this where we find ourselves all with maybe the greatest challenge possibly ever of our generation. So yeah. I can't help but laugh because it's nervous laughter.
It's gonna be all right.